Welcome back to this Ask NCM segment. Today I want to talk about a conversation I was actually having with a manager the other day. This gentleman was in class, he was a newer manager, been in management about 6 months. And as we sat around talking on a break, he said, "Steve," he said, "you've been in management for a long time. I've got to ask a question. What do you wish that you would have known early on in your management career that you didn't learn until later?" And it really made me think. That was a great question. We had a good conversation on this. And it prompted me to put together a list that I wanted to share with you. This is actually going to be the part one of a two-part version of Ask NCM to cover this, because I've got 10 topics that first-time managers must learn. I'm going to explain them a little bit without dragging them out too far in the essence of time, but I would invite you back for the part two session to finish this up. The first lesson that I think is important for the first-time managers to learn is that they try to do too much themselves. They've got to learn to use the power of the team. They can't just try to think, well, I'm in the manager position now, I got here by working hard, and now I'm just going to keep taking on all the responsibilities to be the best manager I can. They have to realize that management is about getting your team to perform better, and it's the compounding effect of everybody becoming better from your leadership, not you doing it all. The second one is they've got to watch out for being too close of personal friends with their coworkers and their employees. This can happen a couple of different ways. Number one, if they get promoted up from within, they used to be one of the gang, now they're the leader of the gang, and you can't be too close of personal friends. Now you want a great personal relationship, but there's a difference there. There's a line you don't want to cross. And if you're a new manager or first-time manager and you've went to another location to do this, you have new employees, you've got to be careful on how you set that initial relationship going forward, okay? You want to have a great relationship with them, but know the boundaries between the boss and the employees on it. Number three, not being able to hold others accountable. And what I mean by that is not being able to hold them accountable for results. We've got to realize as a leader, as a manager, your people have to put up results, and you're the person who has to make sure that happens. If you can't hold them accountable, ultimately you're going to fail in the position, and we don't want that. The next one is don't avoid your boss. Whenever things are going bad, and they can be kind of rough whenever you're starting out as a young manager, the first thing you want to do is avoid your boss, because you don't want to tell them the bad news. One of the worst things you can do. Have open communications and make sure that they are on the same page as you. Actually, your boss is much more experienced at leadership and management at that point, and they can probably help you through some of these pitfalls if you work them into the discussion. But what happens is a lot of times there's something tough going on. You don't want to share it because you don't want to look like you're not succeeding, and then all of a sudden there becomes a wedge between the boss and you as the new manager, and you can't bridge that gap. So make sure and communicate with your boss. And number five today is managers, whenever they get into the position, they get very busy and they stop learning. You've got to remember how you grow. You've got to be a student of the industry. You've got to learn continually. So never stop learning. You haven't arrived. You've just achieved the next step, and you're going to keep learning it in order to become better at that step on it. So these are the first five items that first-time managers must learn of my list of 10. I'm going to come back to you here shortly with another Ask NCM with the next 5 items on the list. I hope you enjoyed this session. Please come back and see part 2 so we can finish out this list for you.